Okay, so let's look at this question. Good. Let's look at this question and see how we can prepare the statement of net profit. So we are told that Georgina Ria started business on 1st January 2016 with 80,000 capital in cash. She kept very few records of her transactions in the first year of business. The assets and liabilities of the business as at 31st December 2016 were freehold property, that's an asset, debenture, that's a liability, stock, an asset, debtors asset, creditors liability, cash and bank asset. So these are assets and liability at 31st December 2016. We are also told that during the year, Georgina Ria withdrew 18,000 cash for her personal use. Okay. She also paid 12,000 received from the sale of her private car into the business bank account. She paid 12,000 from her sale of her private car into the business. Now we are required to calculate the net profit for the year ended 31st December 2016. It becomes obvious that the information here is not one that we can use to prepare the trading account profit and loss to get a net profit. So our only option will be to prepare the statement of net profit for the year ended 31st December 2016. And I'm going to ask my professors, what information do you need to prepare this statement? We just discussed that, so I think you should be comfortable telling me as quickly as possible. So, Prof. Ifya, what information would we need to prepare the statement of profit?
Please, opening capital, closing capital, drawings. Yeah, that's what I.
Okay. Okay. I think you've left one. Can the Amma or add the last one? So she spoke about the opening capital, closing capital, drawings. It's left with one. Additional capital. Okay. So professors, please note this. If you want to prepare your statement of net profit, you need opening capital. You need closing capital. You need additional capital. Let me go down a bit. So even before we prepare this statement, let's see if we have these items available in the question before we move on. So you need opening capital, you need closing capital, you need additional capital, and then you need drawings. These are 4 key things you need. So you go to the question and pick these figures, right? But per the formula or per the format, you have to begin with your closing capital. Okay, so you begin with your closing capital, which I use CC. You add drawings, and then you less the opening capital and the additional capital. Okay, so you always have to begin with the closing capital. So let me put in the currency and see if we can get our closing capital. Okay. So closing capital. So let's check. Where is our closing capital in this question? And where is our opening capital, additional capital and drawings? I think I'll call one of you and then you pick whichever one you want to provide for us. So we are looking for these 4 items in the question to be able to prepare our statement of net profit. So dear professors, you put up your hand, I call you, and you can give us any of the information you have seen. So who is going first? Okay, Prophet Chan, let's hear you. Okay, so I'll pick a Chan first and come to Ifya.
Please, I think the opening capital is 80,000.
Okay, so Prophet Chan has identified the opening capital to be 80,000. Can you guide us? How did you arrive at that? How did you agree or decide to pick 80,000 as the opening capital? Any clue?
Please, I heard Judge Nere started a business on 1st January 2016 with 80,000 capital.
Okay. Okay. So the date attached there, 1st January, is an opening date. So if there's a capital on that date, then that's the opening capital. Thank you. Yes. So that is for the opening capital. What's of our okay? I think I should go to Ifya before I come to ya. So Ifya.
Please, additional capital.
Okay, Ifya is picking additional
12,000.
capital and she says it's 12,000. That is true. So as you see here, she also paid 12,000 received from her private sale of car into the business. Okay, so Profia, let's hear you.
So please, did you see me?
Please,
Hello.
yeah, hello.
Okay. For drawings, I think it's 18,000.
Okay, so the drawings is 18,000 as it's boldly written here that she withdrew 18,000 cash for her personal use. So that's drawings. So what is left? We've seen our opening capital, additional capital drawings. Where is the closing capital? My able professors, where is the closing capital? Yes, Ifya.
Mr. Ma, please, there's a question I'm about to ask.
Okay, I'm listening.
Please, you have to first prepare the statement of affairs in order to get your closing capital.
So this shouldn't have been a question. It should have been an answer. Yes, so you could appreciate that the opening capital was given on a silver platter here, 80,000 capital on 1st January. The drawings was given just like that, additional capital just like that. But for the closing capital, it is not seen anywhere. But you appreciate that some assets and liabilities have been given at the closing date. And if you have assets and liabilities, then of course you can use the accounting equation asset equals capital plus liabilities. So if you're looking for the capital, it's asset minus liabilities, which of course means you are preparing your statement of affairs. So here, for us to be able to get the closing capital, we need to prepare the statement of affairs. So you do it as part of your workings statement of affairs. As at, remember the date 31st December 2016 because we are looking for closing capital. So it should be on the closing date. So what do? We bring in the assets on this date and we less the liabilities on that same date. So dear professors, can we get the assets on this 31st December 2016? I think it's visible here, right? The first one is freehold property. So freehold property. And that's 152,000. Apart from that assets, do we have any other assets? Yes, we have the stock. Okay, if you are okay, yeah, you can go ahead. I think if you is
Sir, please cash and bank.
okay, good. So we have the stock, we have the debtors, and we have the cash and bank. So these were the assets on 31st, and I think it's given here the assets and liabilities as at 31st December. So we are picking the information on those on that date. Okay, so the stock is 48,000. Debt is 5,600, and cash and bank 10,800. Okay, so that's all. So we get a total and then we less the liabilities. So please, if you have your calculator, quickly sum them up for us so we get our total assets. So 152,000 plus 48,000 plus 5,600 plus 10,800. That's 216,000.
16,400.
Thank you very much for confirming that figure for me. Then for the liabilities, I think we have the creditors and the debenture. Debenture is also a long-term liability, right? But it's common with companies other than the sole proprietorship. Okay. So we have creditors and we have the debenture. Okay. So creditors were 15,200. The debenture is 100,000. So altogether, our total liability would be 152,000. Sorry, 115,200. So when we less that, we can now arrive at our capital. So capital as at 31st December 2016, or you can call it your closing capital. Okay, whichever. I think here we should use the closing capital since that is what we are going to use in the formula or the format. So closing capital. So 216,400 minus 115,200. Our closing capital is 101,200. Okay. So we now have the closing capital 101,200. So it became necessary for us to go and prepare the statement of affairs before getting that figure. So we now put it in our statement of net profit. So the closing capital comes first, 101,200. We add drawings as per the format. And drawings we know from the question to be 18,000. And then we less the following, which is your opening capital and the additional capital. So opening capital we're told is 80,000, and we're told she brought in additional capital of 12,000. So let's finish up our calculations. The total here would be 119,200. Then we less these two, which accumulates to 92,000. So altogether, our net profit for the year will be equal to 119,200 minus 92,000. So that will give us a net profit of 27,200. Very simple. Do this for 15 marks in WASI. This was a WASI question, so you can imagine how cheap or how easy, if I should use a less moderate, a less harsh word, how easy it is for you to score your highest mark in accounting. Okay. Any question on this illustration? Okay, I don't think so. So let me pull up another illustration. This time I think I'll just skim and scan through with you, and then that'll be it. So for this one, look at what happens. It says the following relates to St. Monica Enterprise, who does not keep complete set of accounting records for the year ended 28 February 2023. So you have two dates here, 1st March 2022, which obviously will be the opening date, and 28 February 2023, the closing date. And you see some assets and liabilities given here. You are given additional information like rent prepaid on 28 February, which is the closing date, insurance owing, again on the closing date. Then during the year, drawings made by Monica. So Monica made drawings as follows: $100 per week in cash. So she made some drawings in cash, and $20 per month from stock. Provision for doubtful debt is of 500 is to be made. You are required to calculate the net profit. Okay. So again, you need these following items: closing capital, drawings, opening capital, additional capital. If you go through, Prof. Ella, I hope my network is not. Yeah, Prof. Ella, go ahead. Unmute your mic. Prof. Ella, go ahead. You have your hands raised, unless it's a false alarm.
Sir, yes, please. No, please. Please, I wanted to ask, there's when they tell you to calculate the net profit, can you use the trading profit and loss instead of this?
Okay, so the point has been that with this information given, it will be difficult for you to prepare your trading account, right? Because you have no information about sales in the first place. Well, you have debtors here, but you only have the opening balance and closing balance. You don't know how much was received from the debtors for you to think about even preparing the debtors account to get your credit sales. Okay, so it becomes problematic to prepare your trading account with this information. It will be very chaotic. The more reason why we use the statement of net profit, especially where you can easily identify your closing capital drawings, opening capital, and additional capital. So in this question, let's analyze. Closing capital is not given, but we have some assets and liabilities at the closing date. So we can prepare the statement of affairs at the closing date to get the closing capital. For drawings, it's given here that she made the following drawings, just that Okay, so I was making the point that the information given is one that can be used to prepare statement of affairs to get our closing capital as well as the opening capital, right? I think the drawings was given in the question on a silver platter, just that you have to do some little calculation because we were told that she made some $100 drawings per week. Okay, remember you are preparing the thing for the year, so if it's per week, you have to multiply by the number of weeks in a year to get your total drawings in cash for that year. And we're also told she took something from stock as well. That one was monthly. Okay, so you do those adjustments to get your drawings, right? Okay, so it means for you to be able to prepare your statement of net profit, you would have to prepare statement of affairs. In this case, for both the opening and closing date to get your opening and closing capital, I think there's no additional capital here. No information suggests that she brought in more capital. So that one will be off, right? And then you go ahead to prepare. Now, fortunately for us, in our previous lesson, we prepared the statement of affairs for this and that, right? So I think that'll be all for this one on this question, especially where we have done the statement of affairs. So you can pick the values in there and prepare your statement of net profit. Okay, so the requirement were prepare the statement of affairs and statement showing the net profit. Okay, as we have discussed. Great. Let me see if I can pull up another question. Please, this is also another highly examinable area, right? So please pay attention to it. Preparing your statement of net profit. It's highly examinable. It has been dropping in the WASI. So dear professors, I think these are the concepts that you need to appreciate under single entry and incomplete records. There are other concepts like finding the stock stolen, etc., but they are not highly examinable. So most of the time we don't pay attention to that. Okay. So in wrapping up, you would need to know how to prepare your statement of net profit if it becomes necessary that you use your closing capital, opening capital, drawings, and additional capital to get your net profit. If not, then you may have to go through the steps, which is preparing your debtors account, preparing your creditors account, finding your total sales and total purchases, using them to prepare your trading account, moving to the profit and loss account, preparing your expenses and income account, okay, and preparing your statement of affairs to get your capital for your cash and bank balance, which will be needed in the in the statement of financial position or the balance sheet. Okay, so I think I will share these videos with you and then mark all outstanding assignments you have submitted, and I will see you on Tuesday, God willing. Till then, if there is any question, please go ahead. If not, Mr. Moore, I'll sign out. Thank you.